Welcome into a Monday edition of the Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. Coming up on today's show, we have the latest Baltimore Ravens news and rumors, those involving Dalton Risner. Could we see him end up in Baltimore in week number 2 of NFL free agency? Also on today's show, we will talk about the possibility of trading Patrick Queen. Does that make sense for the Ravens? A lot of speculation out there. We'll break it all down coming up in just a few moments from right now. Before we do, folks, here's what I need from you guys. Before we get the show on the road today, I highly encourage you to share this show. We want to get this show out to as many Baltimore Ravens fans as possible so they can be a part of what we're doing each and every day here on the channel. So here's what you can do. Click the share button, select the Twitter icon, and then click post to Twitter. And for everyone that shares today's show on Twitter, we'll get you a shout out on the show coming up later this week. So simple as that. Help us, help you, and we'll get started. Dalton Risner, formerly of the Denver Broncos, he's been sitting out there in free agency, and he has been named as a possible replacement option for Ben Powers. Ben Powers, of course, ended up leaving and going to the Denver Broncos. So this could work out as kind of like a trade of some sorts. Dalton Risner ends up in Baltimore. Ben Powers, of course, in Denver there. Now, let's look into this possibility. Clutch Points brought this up of what this could potentially mean for the Ravens. Dalton Risner played consistently for the Broncos offensive line in 2022. That's despite their mediocre performance overall. In addition to his skills in the field, Risner offers leadership and flexibility in different positions. Those are things that can certainly help the Ravens. I like Dalton Risner a lot. I followed him closely when he was at Kansas State in the Big 12 Conference. He's always been well-spoken, always been a very good leader and a guy that plays hard. But what the Ravens have to evaluate, what they have to look at when it comes to Dalton Risner is, do they need him? How confident are you in some of the guys that you already have that would be competing for that position, like Ben Cleveland and some of these others, Patrick, John, these guys that would be competing for that spot to replace Ben Powers. If you're confident in those guys, you don't need Dalton Risner. But if you are skeptical and have some question marks, Dalton Risner could be a good fit. The numbers, according to PFF, you can see that he certainly specializes when it comes to pass blocking with an overall grade of 72.6 in the pass blocking department, overall grade as a whole 61.1, and a run block grade of 53.4 out of 975 snaps. Played a lot of football this past year. So you tell me in the comment section, should the Ravens sign Dalton Risner? This is our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it while the ads play and get your votes in. And let me know. Y for yes, in for no. If the Ravens should sign Dalton Risner or not, let me know. Y for yes, in for no. Let's shift gears now and discuss Patrick Queen. The trade possibility, the rumors, the rumblings have certainly escalated quite a bit within the last few days about his future within the organization. And there's been multiple outlets that are talking about a trade possibly being in the works involving the Baltimore Ravens linebacker. Let's start with what Bleacher Report had to say about this possibility. This comes from Maurice Motton, who wrote this. The club, referring to the Colts, should add a young second-level defender to replace Oriki, with Leonard coming off of back surgery. General Manager Chris Ballard should call Baltimore Ravens General Manager Eric DeCosta, who didn't say if he would exercise linebacker Patrick Queen's fifth-year option while at this year's Combine. Baltimore may eventually let Queen walk away as a free agent with Smith, that's Roquan Smith, by the way, making $20 million annually, and quarterback Lamar Jackson seeking a new deal. Instead, the Ravens can command a middle-round pick for Queen. Now, here's what The Athletic had to say along the same lines about a Patrick Queen trade. Baltimore is a better team with Queen lined up alongside Smith. Trading him also potentially creates a need unless the Ravens are comfortable with Harrison, that's Malik Harrison, as a full-time starter. So more on this possibility. We'll dive into it. I got some numbers that I want to show you and We'll talk about Malik Harrison as well here in just a second. But first, let's do a quick little survey. Let's do a survey here on the Ravens Rundown. If you want to keep Patrick Queen, if you want him to stay and get a new contract and not be traded, just go ahead and like today's video. If you want to see him traded, if you don't want him staying around Baltimore, then comment and tell me why you want to see a trade go down. Is it money? Are you unhappy with Patrick Queen? We know that he's been inconsistent at times throughout his career. Let me know. Quick survey, quick poll. Like the video if you want Patrick Queen to stay. If you want to see the Ravens move on from him, let me know in the comments section below. Got to subscribe to the channel. We are all over the latest happenings throughout free agency here on the channel. Had a crazy week last week. This week's going to be a lot of fun as well. We'll have our daily news and rumors segments. If the Ravens make a big-time move, you know we're going to stop whatever we're doing and bring you a breakdown and analysis of what's going on with your Baltimore Ravens. This is the channel for the diehard Ravens fan. We just reached over 9,000 subscribers. We're continuing to grow. We want to build this thing up to be as big as it can possibly be, but we need your help to get there. Subscribe now, youtube.com/RavensTV. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. So this is the question that I think the Ravens have to ask themselves when it comes to the possibility of moving on from Patrick Queen. How comfortable are you with Malik Harrison as a potential full-time starter of taking on that role that Patrick Queen's in? Because think about it this way. I don't want to move on from Patrick Queen just to create another hole in the defense, to have to fill another void of some sorts. If you believe in Malik Harrison, then okay, then that can make sense. If you move on from Patrick Queen and then you just create another need, that's just another problem that you're adding on, potentially stacking up there. I believe that if you're going to move on from Patrick Queen, you need to be all in on Malik Harrison. Now let's compare the two with their numbers according to Pro Football Focus. Let's start with Patrick Queen here. Overall grade this past season, 70.0, not bad at all. Run defense grade, 62.8. His pass rush grade was a 75.5, really solid. And his coverage grade was a 68.2. Now, let's compare that to Malik Harrison. Malik Harrison, his overall grade, not as good, 66.5. Run defense grade, really solid, 78.3. But his pass rush grade goes down to 59.5, and his coverage grade goes down to 51.6. So, to kind of recap all of that for you, Malik Harrison is better than Patrick Queen when it comes to run defense. But Patrick Queen is better in the pass rush and in coverage. And if you watch this Ravens team this past season, in particular the first half of the year, what was the big weakness for this Ravens team? It was coverage, right? And giving up big plays and how they dealt with things that way. And so where the Ravens are at as a whole, they would value more of the assets that Patrick Queen brings to the table as opposed to Malik Harrison on that front. So something to think about there. So before we go, quick question for you guys. If you have to pick a linebacker, and I'm not doing this if all things are equal here thing, because all things are never equal. Of these circumstances, if you can keep Patrick Queen, would you do so and keep him as a starting linebacker? If you would, type Queen. If you want to roll with Malik Harrison and move on from Patrick Queen, try to get some assets for him, save a little cash, type Malik. Let me know. Queen for Patrick Queen. Malik for Malik Harrison. Pick a linebacker. Let me know in the comment section below. You can interact with me on social media. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook is where you can find me at Tyler Jones Live talking about your Baltimore Ravens. I'll see you next time here on the channel. Got plenty to talk about over these next few days. Stay locked and loaded. We got you covered talking about your Baltimore Ravens. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time here on the Ravens Rundown.